Well, here we are again, folks, on another muggy, wet day, which we promised is going to turn into rain, which will complement the 3.5 inches of rain we had, which we weren't supposed to get 2 days ago. It's quite sweaty at the present time, although the temperature is quite pleasant. The battery you see on the branch there is one that I've neutralised over the last 3 or 4 days. Now, I've had a couple of goes at making a video on it and it's coming out pretty badly, so I've decided to do it again. I have had the C-Tech charger on it for about 36 hours, but it's refused to take a charge. So what I've done is put it on my heavy duty charger on the right hand side there and boosted it to see if I can form the battery a bit and make it take a charge. The positive cell seems to be weak and I'm not sure how it's going to go. Sometimes you can get these batteries back. That one's been sitting around for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years up there in the weather and all sorts of weather and 45 degrees of heat too, so don't think it's done it a whole heap of good, but it seems to be reacting in the cell at the present time. So it's only charging at about 4 volts at the moment, or 4 amps, and that's not very much, and it's on high charge too, so there's obviously a lot of resistance in the battery itself. I'm just going to take some water out of it because it's starting to bubble up at the present time, so we'll get some of that out of here before we have a flood. It's certainly active now. This is the cell up here that's giving trouble, and I'm just taking, this is not acid by the way, it's an alum mix, 8 ounces to 5 litres of water, and we're getting a good reaction out of the cell up this top end at the present moment, so obviously it's been gingered up. Sometimes you have to give the batteries an initial boost, I found, to get them to operate, to start to regenerate current. It was down to 4.2 and then dropped back to 3.5 volts and actually started at something like about 4.6. So that was a bit disappointing, but it's certainly beginning to show that it's going to have to do a little bit more. So now we're getting a good reaction out of some of these cells at the present time, and with a bit of luck, when I got this charged up on this battery here, this battery charger, I'll run it down to 0 and then I'll put it back on the C-Tech. That's this little fella here, and we'll pulse charge it, see what happens to it. I've had pretty good success reclaiming batteries at the present time, and I've probably reclaimed about $1,000 worth, so that's significant because I've got quite a number of cars. They're not all old ones either. So there we have it at the present moment. I'm just going to let that charge up for a while and see how it goes. It's certainly working quite nicely at the present time. So I'll upload this video later on and I'll come back and have another look at it as soon as I can. The next prospect is that I'm going to take one of my recharged batteries and put it in my ute, the VS ute, and get it going because it's dead flat. That battery hasn't been treated with alum, so I'm going to, but I'll pulse charge it and see if it'll take a charge, which it seems to do. It stays up for a while, but it's obviously got a parasitic leak in it. I've got the XR6 HHA system is about to be undertaken. I've just got a container for it. I've got to download and print out the instructions for it, which are a couple of years old, and when I've done that, I'll start to follow the instructions. I'll get the entire unit put together in a plastic container, and I'll put it in the boot or the trunk for you US people, and some US people do look at my site. I've had something like about 88,900 people look at my site so far, so I'm pretty pleased about that. I'm working on the site to make it better at the present time. It takes a while to get on top of what you've got to do with them, but I'm intending to put up a couple of new sections in it when I learn to use the editor a bit better, and I'll put the I'll put a segment up there which I'm stealing from another guy's format, which is going to be called Are you dreaming? And that'll be the people who ask ridiculous prices for heaps of junk. And I'll put that up, no fear or favour about the whole thing. I'll start with the local area. In Australia, everybody thinks if their car's old it's worth $10,000 for a rusted out Hulk. And even if they're in reasonably good shape, they're worth nothing like the money that they're asking for them. So I'll stick 3 cars up on that, or 1, depending on what I find, with some comments. And you can have a look at that. In the meanwhile, I'll let this little thing bubble away to itself, and keep the charges and everything else with electricity away from it, so we don't have a short circuit in something else. Okay, back soon.